great grandmaster. I know you're a busy man, so we're gonna start from the top. Tell us where you're from. Tell us about your childhood and upbringing, and describe us of that environment of your home life at that time.
Well, I was raised up in a city called Fresno, California, and I was raised up in a very good household, religious mother and father, going to church like all the young kids should have been doing years ago. If they did, they would have learned something that's real detrimental to what's going on today. But I went to school with the Whispers. We used to play football every day, basketball, run track, and it was just a velvet upcoming, playing in the street with kids, riding bicycles, doing what normal kids be doing.
Right, right,
And,
right,
until I got around the fifth or sixth grade, and then things started changing. When we went to another element, we start dressing and finessing at a young age, because that's what we used to see all the time coming up. So I had four friends of mine that always kept my circle small, but the same four friends that I had way back then, it's only two of us left. But we was in the same type of circle. So we kind of ran uh, the junior high school. We had a gang called the Vikings, and we started out being gang members and doing what kids do, young kids do. Uh, follow the leader, of the older guys. So went up to one thing to the next, and then we start seeing other dimensions of the life later on in the ninth, 10th grade.
right, right,
Players and things riding through the streets. So we start paying attention to that. So
right, right.
that kind of
So not to cut you off, Grandmaster. During those times, those players that you saw, those early times when they were young, who were those early names, those early players that were in the city doing their thing during those times?
well, at this particular time, it's a guy by the name of Milton Peters,
Hmm, hmm.
another by the name of Foots. They call him JB, and the rest of them, people like Earl Jones, James Kelly. Uh, but it wasn't very many back at that time. So it was a sight to see because we come up under poverty. Everybody wasn't doing too good. Where they had the field work and stuff of that nature. With this two or three Cadillacs that was in town. A lot of them was like 10, 12 years older. But this guy named Milton was
Right,
always riding brand new. So that's who I kept my eyes on.
right.
He's
So
one of the
so what
most
was Milton in the game at the time? Was he in the game?
was in the game. He ran the game. He was the
Mm,
game.
mm,
Yeah, he was
mm,
bossed
mm.
up for real.
Right,
Flipping brand new Cadillacs every year when, diamonds and, everybody had their hair fixed, with the perms and the stuff of that nature, suits and booted. And we just kind of took to that.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right, right. So wow. So what year would you say this was around this time?
It had to be around 61, 62,
Mm.
way
So
back in.
I saw during that time. So around this time, I read that you had your first early hustles like selling pots and pans on the corner, that type of thing. What got you into those hustles that you had? Were all your homies at the time, your friends, did all y'all have those small hustles going on at the time, or were you just the only one stepping up doing that?
Well, no, it wasn't but two or three people really that's really was had elevated up to trying to do something hip and slick in the streets.
Right.
Actually, it wasn't me selling the pots and pans. It was friends of mine. I was
Mm.
always kind of like uh, a leader, and I put people in front of me to do things. I never done that myself.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
always kind of used my brain on things. It started way back then,
Hmm.
and they got it mixed up. Thought of me because I was the leader. Of three or four people that was around. So
Right.
they would go out and they had see if you didn't have no real hustle. The only thing was stealing. And the
Hmm.
few friends that I know, that's what they did.
Right.
Yeah, they went around because they didn't have no money. They ain't had no food, no nothing, no cars. Couldn't hardly afford a bicycle.
Mm.
So, but me, I had a mother and a father, so I had a better upbringing than the average person there.
Right, right. So was your what kind of work did your mom and dad do?
My mother was a cook, and my
Mm.
father worked at a compress, and he kind of gamble on the weekend to keep things floating. Then they might
Mhm.
catch us try to do that field work in the summertime. We're not in school. I hated it. I hated it with a passion. So
Right.
that made me kind of shy away from a lot of things. Kind of stay
Mhm.
away from home and not get called up on to go out in that field and cut them grapes and pick that cotton.
Right.
That was
Right.
that I couldn't have that. That was a bad taste in my mouth.
Right. I would be surprised. I was surprised that you would say you were doing that type of thing in California with the cotton and the grapes. I didn't think that was going on like that out in Cali.
Oh yeah, well Fresno had a city and a
Mhm.
country. So the
Mm.
country, all the way back to Bakersfield, was the grapes and the cotton.
Right.
So
Okay.
I lived in the city, but I was pushed up into the country because that's where the money was. To for everybody that didn't have none. You had to get on them buses and ride and do all type of things.
Right.
I mean, it just really wasn't my thing.
You ain't got no money, you can't get no honey. You ain't got no cash, ain't no telling how long